Come here. Come here a second. Look at this. You see this jar? Hold on. Let me get it up in the light so you can. There. You see that green? You see how green that still is? That's cilantro, fresh cilantro. And I want you to really sit with what I'm about to tell you for a second, because the first time somebody told me this, I stood there and I didn't believe them either. I cut this cilantro last summer. Not last week, last summer. It's pushing a year old now, and it has never, not one single time, been inside a refrigerator. Never seen a freezer. Never. It's been sitting right there on that same plain wooden shelf in my pantry, in the warm and in the dark, for the better part of a year. And it's still good, still bright, still tastes like the middle of July. Now, the modern world, the store world, they'll tell you that's flat out impossible. They'll look you in the eye and tell you fresh herbs die in a week, 3 days, some of them. That you've just got to buy that little plastic clamshell of parsley every single Tuesday, use maybe a third of it, and then, well, you know exactly how it goes. You open the crisper drawer 8-9 days later, and there it is. That black, slimy little mush pooled in the bottom of the box, and you throw it out, and you buy it again, and you throw it out again. 52 times a year, some of you more than that. My grandmother, we called her Mommy. That's what all the little ones called her. Mommy Fanny never bought a herb in her whole life. Not one. Not ever. She grew a whole summer of them out that kitchen door, and she kept them a whole year in a kitchen that never had one single wire of electric run to it. Dirt lane. No power line coming in off the road. Nothing. Wood stove, a window, and her 2 hands. And I'll tell you, you walked into that kitchen in the dead of January, middle of a gray, frozen nothing of a day, and it smelled like summer in there. Smelled like a garden. She'd have a soup going on that stove, and she'd reach up, didn't even look, reach up to a shelf and pull down a pinch of this, a pinch of that, and drop it in. Basil, dill, that sage of hers, in January. And I remember standing there as a boy thinking, where is she getting that? The ground's froze. Where's that coming from? Today I'm going to show you exactly where. Exactly how she did it. 4 ways, matter of fact. I'll give you a bonus one at the end that most folks have never even heard of. And by the time we're done here, I promise you, you are never going to throw away another bunch of herbs as long as you live. But stay with me. Stay with me all the way to the second one, because the second method, the second one, nobody believes it till they've done it with their own hands. My own wife didn't believe me, and she grew up doing this stuff. All right, now before we touch a single leaf, I gotta stop and make sure you understand something. You gotta understand your enemy first. Because once you really understand what rots a herb, what actually does the deed, every one of these tricks is gonna make sense. It's gonna click into place, and you'll never have to memorize a thing, you'll just know it. So here it is. A herb doesn't die of old age. It doesn't just get old and tired and give up the ghost. No, sir. It dies of 3 things. 3. Water, air, and warmth. That's it. That's the whole list. And I want you to burn it into your head. Think it through with me. That green leaf, it's almost all water. 80-90% water, some of them. And the minute your knife touches it, the minute it's cut, all that water turns into a road. A wet little road running through the whole thing. And the mold, the rot, the peace, the invisible little spoilers, the ones you can't see till it's too late. They get on that wet road and they travel, they spread, and then you give them a little warm air to sit in. Now you've built them a house, a nice, warm, damp house to move into and raise a family. But, and here it is, here's a secret underneath every other secret I'm going to tell you. You take those 3 things away. Take the water, take the air, take the warmth, even one of them. And that same leaf, the one that would have gone to slime in 3 days on your counter, it'll keep for months, sometimes a whole year. And that is not a trick. That's not some magic. That's just the way the Lord built the thing. The rot needs water and air and warmth to do its work. And if you starve it of even one, it sits there helpless, can't touch your food. So every single method I'm about to show you, every one, they all do that same holy, simple thing. They rob the rot of what it needs to live. That's all. That's all any of it is. All right, watch. The first way, this is your everyday way. This is your bread and butter for your parsley, your cilantro, your dill, your chervil, the tender ones. The bright, soft green ones you want to cook with fresh all week and all month. You pick them in the morning. And morning matters, I mean it. After the dew's dried off the leaf, but before the sun climbs up and gets hot. Not in the heat of the afternoon. In the afternoon, that plant's stressed. It's wilting. It's pulling its water back down into the roots. And a limp, stressed leaf will not keep near as long as a cool morning one. First thing, that's your window. And now here's where folks fight me. Every time. You do not wash them. I know everything in you is screaming to rinse them off. Get them clean under the tap. But the enemy. Remember the enemy. Water. Water is the enemy, and washing them now, you're just pouring the enemy all over your food. You're paving that wet road with your own 2 hands. If they're dusty, if there's a little garden soil on them, you take a dry cloth, a dry one, and you wipe them gentle, leaf by leaf if you have to. That's it. That's as clean as they need to be. Then you lay them out, loose, single layer, on a clean, dry dish towel, somewhere shaded and airy, a counter out of the sun, a screened porch, and you just let them be. Let every last bit of surface water lift up off of them and go into the air. Hour and a half. You'll watch them go from that wet, glossy look to just dry and bright and ready. Now they're ready for the jar. You take a glass jar, clean and bone dry. And I mean bone dry. You dry it with a towel and then you leave it sitting open on the counter another hour, just to be dead sure there's not one drop of moisture hiding in the bottom. One drop will ruin the whole jar. Then you lay your herbs in, gentle. Don't cram them down, don't bruise them, don't crush them. Just lay them in loose, with a little room left to breathe. Lid on. And you carry that jar to the coolest, darkest corner of your whole house. A cellar shelf, that's the gold standard. A north-facing pantry. The back of a low cupboard, down near the floor where the cool settles. And those herbs, bright, green, ready to chop into your supper, they will hold for weeks. 2-3 weeks easy, sometimes a month, on the tender ones. Longer than that sorry crisper drawer ever gave you in your life. And you spent nothing. You plugged in nothing. You just understood the enemy, and you starved it. Now one little troubleshoot, because somebody's going to run into it. If, 3-4 days in, you see any fog on the inside of that glass, any little beads of water, any cloud, stop. That means you jarred them a touch too wet. No harm done, you just tip them back out onto the towel. Let them dry another hour. Wipe the jar bone dry again, and start over. Foggy glass is the rot knocking on the door. Dry glass, you're safe. Just watch for it the first couple days, that's all. And listen, let me say this here while it fits. Keeping food without the electric, the way I'm showing you, that's really only half of what my family ever did. The other half is keeping things properly cold. Cold with no refrigerator at all. The root cellar, the cold pantry, the spring house down by the water. That whole cold side of it, that's a longer story than I've got room for in one sitting today. But a friend of mine, Amos, and his wife Rebecca, good plain folk, they went and gathered that entire system up and wrote it down, plain as day, so anybody could build it. I keep their little almanac right there on my own kitchen shelf, next to the jars. If you want to see how the cold side works, the cellar, all of it, I'll leave it linked down below in the description. No rush on it, it's just there if you want it. Okay, so the dry jar keeps your herbs for weeks, and that's real good. That covers your everyday cooking. But fun, you clicked on this to hear about a year, didn't you? A whole year. And for a whole year, you got to go one step further. And this is Mommy's real secret. This is the one my wife stood there and shook her head at. Salt. Plain salt. That's the whole miracle. That's it. You take your herbs, and this works just beautiful on your sturdier ones. Your basil, your parsley, your sage, your oregano, your rosemary, and you chop them up fine. Fine as you've got the patience for. Then you get a clean, dry jar, and now you're going to build it in layers. Like a man lays up a stone wall, one course at a time, right? Layer of plain salt across the bottom, then a layer of your chopped herb, and you press it down into the salt, pack it gentle, then salt again over the top of that, then herb, salt, herb, all the way up the jar. And you finish with a good blanket of salt right across the top so not a leaf is peeking out. Seal the lid down, and you set it in that same cool, dark place. Now why? Why does a little salt do that? And I want you to really hear this, because when it clicks, it's just beautiful. Salt is thirsty. Salt is the single thirstiest thing in your whole kitchen. It reaches into every leaf it's touching and it pulls the water right on out of them. Just draws it out, drop by drop, into itself. And the rot, the mold, the spoiling, all of it. It cannot live where there is no water. It simply can't. No wet road to travel. No damp house to live in. You've starved it dead. So that herb sits there, safe and sound and full of flavor, for a full year. Longer even. I've eaten herb salt near 2 years old and it was fine. And here's the part I love the most. That salt did 2 jobs at once for you. You saved your herb, yes, but you also just made yourself a seasoned salt, a basil salt, a sage salt, and all winter long you reach into that jar and pinch a little onto a soup, rub it into a roast before it goes in the oven, throw it in the bread dough, and it's the middle of July and every single bite. Nothing wasted. The herb, the salt, all of it, doing its work. And that right there is the whole way we think about a kitchen. Nothing leaves it. Nothing gets thrown out the door. Everything does 2 jobs if you're smart enough to let it. Now the third way, for the folks who don't cook with much salt or who just want their herbs plain. This is the oldest way there is. Older than all of us put together. You just dry them. You take your herbs, the woody ones love this, your thyme, your oregano, your rosemary, your mint. You gather the stems into a little bundle, tie them off with a bit of twine, and you hang them upside down. And upside down matters. The oils, the flavor, it all runs down out of the stem and settles into the leaf. You hang that bundle in a dark, airy room, and out of the sun, out of it. Keep it out of any window, because the sun will bleach the flavor right out of a leaf. Steal it, and you'll end up with pretty green dust that tastes like absolutely nothing. So, dark and airy, and a little patience. A week, maybe 2. And you'll know they're done the day the leaves crumble at the touch of your finger. Crackle right off the stem. That's the day. You crumble them into a jar, lid on, back onto the dark shelf, and there's a full year of flavor sitting there from one lazy afternoon with a ball of twine. And here's a little tip. Don't crush them to powder when you jar them. Leave them whole, in flakes. A whole dried leaf keeps its oils, keeps its punch, a lot longer than powder does. You crush it in your fingers right when it's going in the pot, and that's when the smell comes back to life. Wait till the last second. All right, and here's my bonus one, the 4th way, and I'd bet most of you have never heard of it. Herb vinegar. You take your herbs, the strong, bold ones do best. Your tarragon, your dill, your basil, your chives, pack them down into a clean jar, and you pour plain vinegar right over the top till they're covered. Cap it, set it in the cool dark, give it a couple weeks to steep, and now the vinegar itself, the acid, it holds those herbs safe, because rot can't get a foothold in something that sour, and it drinks up all their flavor at the same time. You've got a herb vinegar for your salads, your slaws, your greens, all year, and the herbs in there keep near indefinite. It's the same thinking, see? Same as the salt. You made the enemy's house a place it can't live. That vinegar mother, by the way, that's a whole art of its own that Rebecca covers in that almanac I mentioned. But that's a story for another day. Now, let me tell you a little story here, because I think it'll stick with you better than any of the how-to. The first winter my wife and I were on our own place. Young, no money to speak of, first real garden of our own. I got proud. I did. I grew this beautiful patch of basil, waist high, smelled like heaven, and I thought, we'll use it fresh. We don't need to fuss with putting it up. And the frost came one night early, in October, no warning, and by morning that whole patch was black, gone, overnight, all of it. And I stood out there in the cold looking at it feeling like a fool, because my grandmother's voice was right there in my head going, you don't leave it on the plant, child, you put it up. So that same day, what was left, the little bit the frost hadn't got, I salted it. First jar of herb salt I ever made it out of shame, honestly. And that February, dead of winter, my wife pulls that jar down and seasons a pot of bean soup with it. And I tell you, that spoonful of green tasted like the whole summer we thought we'd lost. Tasted like Jeem, like a second chance. And we've never once, not 1 year since, left a herb on the plant to freeze. You put it up. That's the lesson. You don't wait. You don't get proud. You put it up while you've got it. And it's not just the leafy ones either. Let me run through a few more real quick, because folks always ask. Chives. Your chives dry beautiful, or you chop them and salt them, and they'll carry that little onion bite all the way to spring. Mint. Mint dries so easy it's almost cheating. Hang a bundle and forget it, and you've got tea and lamb seasoning for a year. Scallion tops, the green part. Chop them, dry them on a tray by the stove, jar them, and you've got that fresh green snap for your eggs and your soups in January. January. Oregano and thyme and rosemary, the woody ones. Those will hold their flavor 2 years dried if you keep them whole and out of the light. They're the champions. And the tender ones, your cilantro, your basil, your dill. Those you salt or you jar fresh, because they don't dry near as well. They lose their soul when they dry. So you gotta match the herb to the method. Woody ones dry, tender ones salt. That's the rule of thumb right there. Oh, and label them. Please, learn from me on this one. A little bit of tape, the name and the month you put it up, right on the lid. Because I promise you, come January, dried oregano and dried marjoram look exactly the same in the dark. And there's nothing sillier than a grown man standing in his pantry sniffing jars trying to remember what he did in July. Name and the date, every jar. And use your oldest ones first. First in, first out, keep them rotating, and you'll never lose a one. Now, I want you to stop with me a second. Just stop and really feel the stakes of this. Really feel it, because it's more than parsley. It's February. Deep, dead February. The ground outside's froze solid a foot down. There's nothing green growing for 1,000 miles in any direction. Not a blade, not a leaf. The whole world's gone gray and white and gone to sleep. And you walk into your pantry and you reach up onto that shelf and you open a jar. And there it is, the middle of summer. The basil, the dill, the cilantro, the sage. Free, yours. From a garden that's been sleeping under 2 foot of snow since November. And your neighbor, meanwhile, your neighbor's standing under them buzzing lights at the grocery store, paying $3, $3.50 for a little plastic box of parsley that's already got a wet brown spot going in the corner. That's going to rot before he uses the half of it. And he'll be back next week to do it again, and the week after that. And the whole time, he had a windowsill he could have grown it on, and a jar he could have kept it in. That's the whole thing. That's the whole difference right there. Between renting your food from the store, week after week after week, forever, and owning it. Doing for yourself one afternoon in July what pays you back every single day of the winter. And it starts with a jar and a handful of salt and knowing your enemy. All right, let me lay it all out plain and simple now so you've got it clean in your head and you can go do it this week. 4 ways to keep a herb a whole year. No electric, no freezer. Number 1, the dry jar. Pick them in the cool of the morning. Do not wash them. Wipe them dry, lay them out till every drop of surface water's gone. Then loose into a bone-dry glass jar, cool and dark. Weeks and weeks of fresh green. Watch the glass for fog the first few days. Number 2, the salt jar. Chop them fine, layer them with plain salt like a stone wall. Blanket the top, seal it, set it away. A full year, and you walk off with a seasoned salt in the bargain. Number 3, the hang and dry. Bundle the stems, hang them upside down in the dark and the air, out of the sun. Jar them in whole flakes when they crumble. A year of flavor. Crush it fresh at the pot. And number 4, the herb vinegar. Pack the bold ones in a jar, cover them in vinegar, steep 2 weeks in the cool dark. A year of herb vinegar, and the leaves keep on. And every last one of them, every one. Remember what they're all doing. Taking away the water, the air, the warmth, starving the rot. That's the whole game. That's all there ever was to it. Now, I told you right at the top, this here's the first of a few. First in a little series I'm putting together. Because herbs, honestly, between you and me, herbs are the easy one. Herbs are where a body starts. The real test is taking something like an onion, a whole heavy sack of onions, and keeping them firm and sweet and sound clear through to spring without one of them going soft on you. And I'll tell you right now, there's a mistake near everybody makes with onions, a real common one. Feels smart, feels tidy, everybody does it, and it rots the whole crop by Christmas. I'm going to show you the right way and the wrong way in the very next one. And then after the onions, then we do the big one, the one folks really don't believe till they see it. How we keep tomatoes, red, ripe garden tomatoes, for 2 winters running, 2 whole winters. Because this is all, every bit of it, it's all one idea. One, putting up a whole year of food out of a single summer. No freezer humming in the corner, no monthly bill, just you and a jar, and the old know-how that never once stopped working. My friends Amos and Rebecca, the ones I keep mentioning, they wrote 90 of these methods down in that almanac of theirs, 90 of them. The whole pantry, how to put up meat with no refrigeration at all. The 11 plain staples that'll keep for years on a bare shelf. All of it laid out in the order you ought to do it, with what every bit of it costs. If today made a lick of sense to you, and I think it did, the rest of it's waiting for you down there in the description. No hurry, though. It'll keep. Keep same as the herbs do. So, go on. Go out and cut your herbs before the frost gets to them this year. Save every last leaf of it. Don't you throw one more bunch in that bin, and I'll see you at the next one, down in the cellar this time, where it's cool and dark, with a whole sack of onions and the one mistake that ruins them. Take care now. Go on.